everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. We're going to be looking at Hulk 332 and 333 from 1987, written by Peter David and drawn by Todd McFarlane. Now, this is Todd McFarlane before he started inking himself, so it is an older. He did not do this cover, by the way. So here we have the Gray Hulk against Rick Jones, and sort of here we have a figure that we can kind of tell by the way the head is who that person is. And if you've been following, I have started from the beginning with the Todd McFarlane Hulk run, so I have issues 330 and 331 already down, and I do have a Todd McFarlane playlist. The real quick, the cover, as I said, is not by Todd McFarlane. It's Bob McLeod is the inker. I do not know who this penciler is, so I do I do apologize about that. You can follow me on social media. Links are in the description below, and um, I also have a link to the Marvel fan base, the wiki page, and you can get like who the characters are that appear in this issue and backgrounds on them and all that kind of stuff. So I do apologize for my voice being a little hoarse. I so I'm a huge college football fan. My favorite team is the Florida State Seminoles, and I they played LSU yesterday to kick off the season, so it was pretty exciting. So we have the Gray Hulk here, who made his return last issue, and he is trying to put that machine that he wrecked together again. He's yelling at Bruce Banner here, and here's um, the credits. And John Workman, who is one of my favorite letterers, is the um, letterer of this. So the leader is trapped in this individual right here, and so like I said, the leader is trapped in as a normal human being, and the Hulk agreed to turn him back into the leader in exchange for Kieran Rick Jones. Now, real quick, this is early on in McFarlane's career, so I know you're used to seeing the Hulk when you look at illustrations on Google's with the brow, but that's gonna come later. So, um, and here the guy tells him to calm down, and we all know calm down doesn't work. He picks him up and says, "Why should I?" Um, so so during this time, the Hulk changes to Bruce Banner during the day, and he gets to be Hulk at night. Um, so he was gonna he you know the Hulk, the Gray Hulk is a little bit uh mean, as you could say. He's a mean little cuss. So he threatens him and says, why shouldn't he get rid of him and go on his own? So he throws him back. The leader tells him he'll never succeed on his own, and he needs them. The Hulk says, of course, that is a laugh here, that meaning he's joking. He says, maybe back when you were super intelligent, but now he's basically a nobody. Hulk asked him what happened to him. He says that it basically wore off. The leader basically says that he didn't know that he could revert back to his human self. Hulk always went back to Bruce Banner, and it never dawned on him that he was able to go back to being a normal person again. He says that by the time he realized what was going on, he had already, a lot of the genius, a lot of the brains had already uh, escaped him. So He couldn't even operate all his machinery. So he went back and had to get money wherever he could. Here he's showing either A, he killed this man, or, the guy sleeping, he took his money. So the coloring of this is a little off. So he tells him that um, he doesn't understand what it took for him to come crawling to his enemy for help because he needs Bruce Banners. And he says, "You will help me or I'll." And Hulk says, "You'll what?" And you can see Hulk all threatening. And then he says, "I'll force you." To which Hulk just laughs about that. So we're at the Gamma base in New Mexico here, and Ramon had has arrived. And if you remember on my previous issue, he is Betty's husband, and he's demanding that she come out. And so the guy keeps calling him Chico, and he's like, my name's not Chico. Anyway, he tells him he can't do that and tells him to go away, which he pushes him and decides to um, go through. And he tells him be nice, and he takes out his knife. And of course, this is a military police, and he kicks him out because it's comic books. Because in real life, they probably would have arrested him, but here he uh, gets rid of him here. So inside the Gamma base, this gentleman here sitting on this chair is John Larroquette. Um, I don't know whether Peter David thought it'd be. I don't know if it's like a nod to Night Court during that time, but anyway. So he, of course, had his leg broken by the Rick Jones Hulk, and he still wants to go into action to stop the Hulk, but they're basically tell him that he needs to recover from his injuries. You can see he's not taking it very well here. He wants to basically go back in. He's designed a gun that can basically kill the Hulk, and when they try to stop him, he is none too pleased. And you can see that he aims the gun at one of his friends, and they're like, he had to have been bluffing. And then there, of course, they said he isn't. And of course, this is Dr. Leonard Samson, or Doc Samson. His hair is supposed to be green, but I think this is a coloring mistake. So, um, he does not have blonde hair, he has green hair. So, what's been going on is that Larroquette blames everyone except himself for the death of his wife, and particularly the Hulk. And that sort of, man. So it's supposed. I think this is like a greenish color, but man, oh man, they really kind of screwed it up on the coloring for it. This the Hulk just says that everyone just. It's like the rage of the Hulk makes everyone even worse than they really are. So Dr. Samson says he's done in the infirmary, and he is time to go into action as well. I really love McFarlane's vertical panel. So this one here, I like how he employs vertical panels here. So he wants to make Larroquette basically listen to reason. So, and here is Alan Quartermain, who's one of the Shield people, trying to talk to Larroquette. Um, I'm sorry, this isn't Quartermain. This is just a guard, basically, that Larroquette convinces him to let him go, basically. So, um, or no, I'm so sorry. It is Quartermain. Oh, too many characters. I sometimes just the thing. So either way, and by the way, this is supposed to be Larroquette, who's Caucasian. So it kind of threw me off because the coloring's just not right. The hair. So whoever colored this did not do a very good job. So So now it looks like it's daytime, and this is Rick Jones who has turned human again. He has the same issues as the Hulk. He's Hulk during night, and during the day he's a person. So, and inside in here is Bruce Banner, who's the same way. He's wanting to be let out, but of course he can't move this rock here. So Bruce realizes, kind of goes through, but eventually he comes to the conclusion that only Rick Jones can rescue him, since he knows where these caves are, and hopes he can show up. And of course, he is going to there, but then here comes Larroquette, um, who is going to try and basically kill him. As you can see, they're shooting at him. You can see a lot of McFarlaneisms, so it's kind of cool that the penciling kind of, you can still see there. It's definitely in there. So of course, Rick Jones is trying to get away, but Larroquette is like, "No, man, you're not going anywhere." Of course, um, he has mentions his wife. He's basically gonna teach him a lesson here for trying to kill his wife, and is in pursuit when suddenly, boom, Doc Samson is hanging on to the tank. Says, "You're not gonna kill an innocent person." So, man, this coloring job is pretty bad. So he then shoots at Doc Samson, who picks up and destroys the tank. He says, "You're lucky I'm a psychiatrist," and is going to uh, basically talk to him. I like this part. He understands, so because of that, he's only gonna knock half his teeth. So, um, and so he is going to now change into the Hulk, and of course, he's sort of dreaming. That's kind of how they're using the thing. So he's basically being absorbed by the Hulk, which is just how it's projected, because they're fighting each other in the mind. So, and the Hulk returns um, because it's nighttime. So he gets out, and Stern was also trapped in there because he also could not get out. So the Hulk then tells the leader that he took from Banner what he needs. So it's time to go. So Doc Samson is still arguing with Larroquette, and Benny gets a a call, and she thinks it's Bruce, and then turns out that it's Ramon, and she's you know she doesn't know how she found him. That part of her life is over, and then when they say what's up, she says wrong number, but that's not good enough for him. So Rick Jones, Hulk, and now the Bruce Banner Hulk are here, and the two are gonna fight. The rules of comic books gotta have a little story, but you also have to have some action. That is Marvel Comics 101, or comic books 101. Good comic books. You still have to have action in a comic book, and I particularly superhero comic books. So regardless of the story and everything, you still need to get to these parts because that's what people want. So, um, this Hulk is a little bit dumbed down, kind of like how the Green Hulk was in other areas. So, He's not as intelligent as the Gray Hulk, so and the two kind of continue fighting, but seems that the Gray Hulk got the upper hand, and what he's basically gonna do is he's gonna basically swap the gamma from Rick and put it in the leader. So, and the Green Hulk has recovered and goes back to fight Hulk. And the Rick Jones and Bruce Banner Hulk continue fighting, fighting, fighting. So he does the whole thing where it just goes from one to the other. So, and so here we see the leader, and this is a different type of uh, his brain. You can see it. It's different from what you know the leader as. So, and so the you can see here Rick Jones has now turned back to human, and the lab explodes. And so now we're going to go to issue 333. Again, this is not a Todd McFarlane cover. But I do like it. It's a very good cover. So I love the red background and the just looks so awesome. So and so this issue is extremely good. So I always tell everybody that I own all the comics that I show. It's just I show them digitally because it's so much easier. But when I first read this, I was like, "Wow, damn, this is a good story." So I hope you like this one. So we see a woman who's been crying here, and you can see someone just saying, "Knock it off, knock it off." So and you can kind of tell what's going on here. You got no business complaining. What happened last night? You brought it on yourself. I'm tired of your complaints. And he's shaving. You can see that this is a battered wife. So that's kind of what we're dealing with here. We didn't really see it here because we just showed the one eye, and it turns out that the other. So you can see here that she's being hit by her husband. So he says, it's her fault for basically he wanted to go for a drink with his men after the kind of day that we put in. If she just were more reasonable, they wouldn't have these misunderstandings. So she, of course, grabs the gun and aims it at him and says, Blair, what are you doing? Um, he he even blames her for shaving her legs with his. And anyway, bam, and then she smiles, and she's really thinking it because it didn't happen. That's what this blank is that she thought it, but she didn't. And the husband's like, "What are you doing?" And takes the uh, gun away from her. The gun, of course, was unloaded because he kept it unloaded. Peter David's stories have such a really people always accuse him of always trying to be funny, and he sort of is, but he brings a great level of humanity, and a great, and not humanity as in, but he really gives you real life situations and dirty. I mean, you can see here the husband again, and he's drawn very big and strong, and um smacks her, and uh um those are the kind of stories that he does, and he did throughout his Hulk run. It's not just Hulk smash and whatever, whatever. He Peter David truly brought a realism that you just normally don't see from Hulk issues and Hulk stories. Most of the time, you deal with over the top destroy and this and that. But Peter David, he, there'll be issues. Hopefully, I get to cover them. I just don't know. He wrote so many. He wrote, I think, 12, 15 years worth of Hulk. So quite a bit of them. Of course, the husband leaves. Basically, it's her fault. It's essentially what's going on. So here are credits. We no longer have for a letterer. We no longer have John Workman. Todd McFarlane is still just the penciler. Has a different inker here. But you can see the Hulk is starting to change, even from the previous issue. Whether or not it's the inker cleaning it up or whatever, but you're starting to see a little bit of the ears. You're starting to see the the brow getting a little bit more defined. So definitely, and the nose. Remember the nose? If you remember in here, you can definitely see it uh, better defined. So we're starting to get the Hulk that most of us recognize little by little. And so here he is busting through that cave where he was, and here's Rick Jones. So a great, um, putting the title page in here as part of the. That's really cool stuff. So, and so we see Rick Jones there, and Hulk kind of leaving him. Rick's just happy that he's still alive, and then realizes that it's nighttime and he hasn't changed back into the Green Hulk. Rick says, "Great, I'm cured, and now we can cure you." Which um, the Hulk doesn't take very kindly. He's like, "I don't want to be a puny pink weakling like you." So again, look at how much more defined the Hulk is becoming, just even from the previous issue. So it's really cool, if you remember just what he looked like just last issue, and now you're starting to see that evolution here. He basically wants to stay the Hulk all the time, and he wants to get rid of Banner. Basically, that deal with the leader is to get rid of Banner so he can remain Hulk forever. But of course, with the equipment damaged, that can't happen. And the Hulk can't find the leader, so either he's dead or disappeared, so now he's stuck, still being Bruce Banner. Rick Jones says, there has to be a trace of Bruce Banner because he used his own body to shield him, which of course the Hulk says, "That's ridiculous. You just happen to be in the right place at the right time." So he says, that first explosion created him, so I guess now we're even. So the Hulk takes off. Like how he says here, "Next time I see you, I'll step on you." So the Hulk wants to go away because dawn is coming in the daylight. So he wants to make sure that he goes somewhere where Banner won't be able to get away. And Rick gets into that ambulance and finds the dead body in the back. So, and if you've been reading along with me from the beginning, then you'll know that this is the partner of Stearns who killed him. But there's no blood here. And remember, he beat him up with that wrench. So surprised that there's no blood here. Great drawing of Hulk here. Great. I love this. We still have McFarlane doing normal panels. So Hulk says he can hear Banner, and he's getting sick of all the whining that Banner does. Hulk says, what about his life? That the strong should be the ones to survive, and it's just unbelievable that he has to put up with someone as puny, being as puny as Banner. He has to find a way to deal with Banner, and he just doesn't know what to do. And he sees this liquor store. Says, "Now we're cooking." He breaks through the glass, and He says his system basically will burn through the alcohol, so he needs to drink so much that there's a buzz for when he turns into Banner to make sure. So he drinks and drinks and drinks and drinks so that when he turns into Banner, then Banner's drunk. So and the sun is coming out. I love how they show just the rays and then leaving this portion just blank. And he's like, "Whoa, I feel woozy." And of course, he's changing back, and he hopes that he made the and he changes back to Banner. And of course, look who is here. The that guy was a cop. So that and Bruce Banner's drunk, so he falls down. You can't believe such a scrawny guy was able to drink all that. So Rick arrives in at the Gamma base, and everybody is waving their weapons at him. So he basically we get a little recap, and Betty finds out that Bruce turned into the Hulk again. Real quick, something that a lot of people do. It's not just McFarlane. So you see how there's no backgrounds here or here because he's establishing there. Once you establish backgrounds, you sort of don't really need them. You just need to establish a background at least once in the page, so that people can sort of so you can leave this and this panel alone because you've got backgrounds here and then you still have them here, but you shouldn't make everything, without backgrounds. But so anyway, so Betty finds out that he's the Hulk again, which she doesn't take too well, and so um she gives him a message, and it's Ramon, and then he puts X with a exclamation point. He's gonna be at this Christie's bar, so she's looking at it. Remember, she's mad at Bruce, so we kind of have 50-50 of what she's gonna do. So, and so at the house now, the wife who was beaten up is reminiscing about how nice her ex-husband used to be, how he would stand up for the weak, and how what a great person he really really was. So, and they got married, and she thought she was just the most fortunate woman in the world. Real quick, by while I continue, just this is something that McFarlane does really really well, is putting the person who's talking or thinking just in one the whole thing. Just kind of I really do enjoy that. So all this started because she is not able to have children, and it became anger. He just started to take that anger on her and become so very abusive and very all that. So all that is because he's not, she's not able to have kids. So she decides she's going to do the thing and run away. So she, of course, has a suitcase packed and, of course, stuff in there because she's packing in a hurry. So she wasn't able to put it away. So she is leaving. So Bruce Banner, of course, has been sort of sleeping all day, and he's kind of still woozy, and it's kind of remembering all the stuff that happened. And real quick, I love these vertical panels. I'm so impressed by people who are able to do the drawings in vertical. Frank Miller is a great example of doing vertical panels here. And Bruce Banner is remembering the stuff that the leader told him. It says it's sort of like how he turned into Hulk in the beginning. So Bruce Banner is remembering. Love this panel up there with the moon and the sun and him in the middle. He says he's only able to change at Hulk into the night because the radiation of the sun keeps the gamma at bay. So, which I think is a good explanation. So, I love just the whole composition there. Look at that. So, um, good stuff in there. So, basically, it says why he is able to turn from one to the other and why those changes occur at night. So because the moon reflects some of the sunlight, he says the darker the better. So when the radiation is not there. Now there's a little fault of this because why wouldn't you just like a dark room? He doesn't turn into the Hulk in dark rooms. So but hey, it's comic books. We're not gonna overthink it. So and so the plan is to get rid of Banner on like a new moon. So eventually Bruce Banner does wake up. Bruce is saying, "Hey, you gotta call Gamma Base immediately." He keeps telling them, they need to call, and of course the guy doesn't take him seriously and rattles his bars. But it's too late. Nighttime is coming, and again, vertical panels, very cool. And suddenly, he's turned into the Hulk. So the other guard shoots him, which of course does nothing to the Hulk, pushes him aside. The guy punches him. He's like, um, he's like, oh, that's not bad. Can you take it too? And then boom, and so she's falling down. Now here, of course, we see the wife who was getting away, and she sees him, and he sees that she's about to leave, and he's like, "Oh my gosh!" And then he takes out his gun, and here comes Hulk, um, and of course she's yelling at him to get away from him, and she's like, "Shut up, Blair." And Hulk notices, "Oh, you're a tough guy," and so he's gonna try and fight the Hulk, and just hits him, and you know Hulk, of course, does nothing. Just basically emasculating the guy. Takes the pipe, rips it. Um, and the guy tries to punch him. He's basically saying, you're trying to humiliate me. Um, and he's trying to say, he's not afraid of him. And he goes, well, you should be. And just is, and that is essentially what the Hulk is trying to do. And I think Peter David is doing it because of how bullies and the people, town people are all happy, and they're like, kill the bum and this and that, and she's remembering the good that he was, and sees the Hulk kind of beating on him, and the guy's all like, oh my gosh, and these people are all like, finish him, and Hulk is like, oh my gosh, it looks like that guy's the real monster, and of course she pulls up the gun and tells him to get away from her husband. And Hulk basically tells her, that won't hurt him, and he's like, I made a promise a long time ago. Hulk basically says, I can see it that you let me get rid of him for you. And she says, go to blazes, which means go to hell. But you couldn't say that back then. I truly wish they would go back to this. I don't know why. Just because I grew up with it, I wish they would go back to blast instead of damn, and go to blazes instead of hell. There's just, I don't know. It's mostly because I grew up with comic books like that. So, and Hulk basically says, "Oh, tough lady. All right, he's all yours," and she um walks away and says, "Come on, we got to get you in a hospital." And of course, he's like, "I don't need your help. I don't need you simpering me in front of the whole town. You embarrassed me in front of everyone. Blah blah blah, this and that." And says, "Give me that gun." And suddenly, bam! And he's dead. And she goes, "I didn't mean to." Hulk stares at her and says, "Sure you didn't." And so the Hulk, of course, now leaves smiling. And he tells, in his head, that to Banner. He says there's monsters everywhere. So now we're at the bar, and so it's been 2 hours, and he says, well, I guess she's not coming. So finally, he's leaving, and there she is. And so, um, she basically is going to go along with him, and says, well, she basically he wants to he wants him to make her feel special, and he of course says that's what I do best. So, all right, so I hope you enjoyed this. So Hulk 332 and 333, um, from Todd McFarlane and Peter David. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening.